that music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
In ancient times, hundreds of years before the dawn of history, was a strange podcast, Bat Minute. No one knows who they were or what they were doing, except that they were looking at Tim Burton's 1992 Batman Returns 1 minute at a time, and that one of them, at least, was called Niall McGowan, and that's me! What do you know?
And joining him is another druid. It is I, John Parker.
And the reason we're doing this Spinal Tap influenced intro will become apparent now, because we have the one-time host of Spinal Tap Minute, who has gone on to also do Cabin Minute Cast and her own solo show, Vibrant Visionaries. It's Heidi Bennett.
Hello.
Ooh, welcome back.
Thanks for the very personalized intro. How exciting. How fun.
I think that's the most personalized one we've ever had.
I was trying to go, do I have to do another one next time for Cabin in the Woods? And it's like, I don't know if there's anything as iconic as in Spinal Tap to follow that up with. So
yeah, you just have to retire now.
Yeah, that's the next time. So there's no intros; it just goes straight into the episode from here on in.
Yeah, I've had enough of intros. Screw it.
But yeah, we're here today to talk about minute 82 of Batman Returns. Minute 82 begins with the Penguin and Catwoman having a bit of a chin wag, and it ends 1 minute later with Catwoman ascending into the heavens.
Oh, has she become an angel?
But yeah, as we can hop on in here, really. I do have like one of the opening lines from this little interchange between Catwoman and the Penguin, which I do love. Where she's just like, I thought you said you were only going to scare the Ice Princess. And he responds with, she looked pretty scared to me. It is kind of like, oh, that's horrible. But it's also like, it's a good one, Ozzy. That is pretty funny.
Oh, he comes out with some great lines, I think, in the whole film. But that's one of my favorites. And I do like that Catwoman, she's pretty shaken up by this. Like, she wasn't expecting it to go the way it has. Like, you can see in her face, she's a bit... Like, she's not impressed with what Penguin's done here.
Well, it's kind of an odd one, because is it that, she exasperated because of their interaction with Batman? Or is it that he's actually outright killed the Ice Princess, and this is sort of just like, she's just saying this in passing? Or is it, because we've seen Catwoman presumably kill a guy before, which it looked like she took out that guy's eyes in the alleyway. So wow. is the idea of murdering someone who's not Batman, I guess?
I think it's because she, as I've said, is a symbol of womanhood, of a strong woman. And she wants other women to be like that. I think she feels like she's kind of helped to betray women by working with the Penguin, who's then murdered a woman. Like, she can kill men. That's fine.
I guess that's true. That she's just like, well, I didn't want to kill... like a sister, as it were. But at the same time, though, she wasn't very nice to that woman getting attacked in the alleyway when she poked at that guy's eyes. So you can't tell this Catwoman. She's crazy.
Well, she wanted her to stand up for herself.
Yeah.
She wants to teach women to be strong, which is a noble goal with less than noble means. I think.
Yeah, I had a bit of a struggle to kind of wrap my head around her character. I really think that Michelle and Danny both really commit fully to these wacky characters, and I really enjoy them doing that. But yeah, I kind of had a hard time figuring out what her motivations were and everything. But I did really appreciate her eye and lip makeup in this particular minute.
Oh God, she looks amazing, doesn't she? All the time. But what do you feel about her character? Like, because I think both of us really like that she's kind of complex. That she's not just straight up a villain, unlike the Penguin, who is just nasty. Whereas you kind of support her because she's been just put down by men, especially all her life, it sounds like. And on top of that, her own mother, which she's mentioned a few times. So you're very much on her side. It's just gone too far, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely am on her side, and I hadn't really seen this movie probably since it came out, so I just sort of vaguely remembered the look rather than her portrayal, and I did enjoy it. The only thing that I really had a problem with in this movie were the goopy, gloppy, chomping on fish, things coming out of mouths and licking and all that stuff was a little just kind of gross and grody to me.
Oh,
but
perfect.
Yeah, like I said, the visceralness of those is a little hard for me to take. I just would close my eyes and my ears. But yeah, I liked that she wasn't a perfect one thing or another, that she had a messy story that she was sort of figuring out as she went along.
Yeah, and it does make you think at some points she might actually turn good, with her relationship with Bruce. Or maybe she finds out he's Batman and it makes them come closer and she leaves the Penguin. Like, if for the first time you're watching it, you think that might happen. But I mean, I've seen it so many times, I know it's not happening.
But the Penguin then follows us with he's doing this very kind of casually, forcefully thing where he's like, she offering her this, presumably what he's got here is champagne. But
I zoomed in and saw what it was.
Oh, but it's the fact that he's pouring it already before he even asks her. He's just like mid filling her glass and like touching the bubbly, which is a line I use every time any form of fizzy drink that's given to me is always like, oh, touch of the bubbly.
I mean, isn't this what you do with champagne, though? At least when I go to Lol, my partner's house, her mum just fills your glass with champagne before asking you, like at Christmas and stuff. She'll just go, do you want a drink? It's in my hand now. I can't say no. And before you know it, she's giving you another one. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
That's the thing. I do enjoy the fact that the Catwoman then just downs it. Like, because, champagne's... what's the champagne etiquette? I just think it's a drink you just sip on.
Well, you're supposed to, but she's quite shaken.
She's, like, downing it as if it's, like, hard liquor, basically.
Yeah, and it would go right to your head, so... I mean, it's going to do its job.
It's either she's shaken or she's just like, I want to get away from this guy as quickly as possible. So it's like, oh, well, I'm done. So, see ya.
Yeah, I was also thinking she was just she was a kitty cat and she's voraciously, consuming liquid like a kitty would go to milk or something like that. Just like this is part of who she is now.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be part of it as well. Yeah, because she does do very odd cat-like things that don't even make sense for a character. It goes like I was saying before with the revenge angle. Becoming the cat goes too far. She almost literally becomes a cat in some way. It's like when she's cleaning herself.
That actually brings up a point like we'll get to later in this minute. But so put a pin in that whole like, oh, she did clean herself in front of the Penguin as a kind of like. I remember the time we were saying like that's a very odd move. But before we get to that though, because you're saying you have identified what this. Because I was like in my notes I was like, well, what's the. Would the Penguin fork out for the best for Catwoman, or
no.
Is this just going to be like this is basically like he's just put a load of Lone Star or something in like a champagne bottle, or this is actually just a big 40 he's got, or like it's a bottle of like dry white cider or something like that he's trying to.
No, it's not Frosty Jacks from the bargain booze down the road, man. That is the worst drink known to man. It is. It's a middling price, I would say. It's good. If someone bought you it, you'd be like, oh, thank you very much. But considering who he is, you'd think he would splurge out a little bit more. It is, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong now because everybody pronounces it wrong. Moët et Chandon.
Oh.
It's actually pronounced Moët. But nobody pronounces it as Moët. But that is the correct pronunciation. But, whatever. Yeah. So I zoomed in and it is in fact that, which is a pricey drink, but not ridiculous. It's reasonable.
Yeah, I can't imagine like the Penguin's a guy who knows good stuff though. Like, because again, he's probably just happy that it's not like, you know, friggin' turpentine and monkey urine used to make potchine. That like, oh, I've been doing that on the sewers for years. Now he's got
Well,
the
it's
actual
definitely a step up from that. I mean, it's about, what is it, like £35? I think £40.
So you don't know like what type of guy, because he is quite well educated. So it could be that he knows he knows quality stuff because he's read up on it, or he's just sort of he has aspirations because he's from blue blood. So he's like, well, you know, should look into what the blue bloods have. But at the same time, it could also be like, I just like, you get so many rich people who are just like, I haven't a clue what I just got this money and I'm just buying stuff.
Hey,
I hope it's expensive, so I hope it's good.
That's almost every rich person you meet. They don't really know what they're doing. It's a performance. They're acting.
That plays right into the delusion that's going on in this minute as well between the two of them, is that he looks like he has all these fancy trappings on with his hat and his fancy coat and everything else there, and his champagne and all that. And then, he is fully confident in where this relationship is going. So he's he's got a whole different idea and isn't getting any of the context clues from the way her body language is when she's responding to what he's saying and doing and all that. So he's really caught off guard when he presents her with what he thinks is the next natural phase of their relationship.
Yeah.
It's a leap though, isn't it? Because I mean, this guy, you would think, oh, he's just going to try and sleep with her. But he actually takes it a step further. He gets a ring.
Well, that's the thing.
Does he want to marry her?
Because I thought it was a ring, but now looking at it again, I think it's mistletoe. Is it?
No. Right. Well, in the script, it says it's a ring, but that doesn't necessarily mean they didn't change it.
Well, no, it is actually. That's the thing. It's hard.
It is a ring.
It is a ring.
I mean, it's on his flipper finger as a circular item that he presents to her, and she pulls off. So it I mean, it's hard to tell what the what the gem or decoration is on it. It does look green.
Yeah, and not like jade.
But, yeah.
Again, with this being the Penguin, like this could be like he just sent out someone to go get me a ring, like, and he has no idea of the value of this thing, or like, or maybe it just walked into a jeweler, just get me the most expensive ring you have, or maybe he was like, oh, well, I'm not gonna go into hawk for this woman, just get me that one, but whatever one over there. But it doesn't, the fact, well, I can't really comment. For a second, I was like, is it mistletoe or is it a ring? Or what's going on here?
It is a ring. And he does say, I mean, he is asking for sex as well. It's the Penguin, after all. He says, let's consummate our fiendish union. Yeah.
That's so gross.
Amazing line. Absolutely amazing. But two things. Like, first off, I think that backs up the wedding thing, like the union. I don't think it just means as like a criminal duo. I think he thinks let's team up for life.
Yeah, oh, totally.
But then also he says consummate, of course. So he is asking for sex in the most bizarre fashion imaginable.
I have to say though, like I would love if I could actually propose to someone like this, like lead my hopefully future wife up to like a random skyscraper balcony, and it'll be like, what do you say? Let's consummate our fiendish union.
I'm gonna do this to lol now.
I'm just wearing that same big top hat and stuff too.
Yes. Oh, she would love it. I say that she probably wouldn't.
Oh, no. And I'd say one thing I should mention as well, that there was a heavily marketed thing like when this movie was coming out, like it's the team up between Batman or between Catwoman and the Penguin, and this is like the second scene they've been in together, and it's pretty much the last time they see each other, really, as well. But I did look in a little bit too, like, I wonder if they ever teamed up in the comics or anything like that, because I know they did a little bit in the 60s movie, the Adam West movie, but then the Riddler and the Joker were also part of that team up. So, but they did briefly team up in The Catwoman's Black Magic, which was from Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane number 70 from 19.
That was the name of the comic.
Yeah, Superman's girlfriend. Lois Lane.
Superman's girlfriend.
Yeah. I think at the time that was because nowadays you could put like, oh, ace reporter Lois Lane or something, but I guess they're like, oh, wait, people know who Superman is, so maybe Lois Lane wasn't as much of a household name. Maybe it was just good old fashioned sexism. You can never tell.
It's sexism. Everyone knows Lois Lane. Come on.
But as in the movie, their union was characterized by betrayal and unrequited affection. But the thing is, I believe the plotline of this involved Catwoman hypnotizing Lois Lane so she could be like her puppeteer. And Lois Lane was going out dressed up as Catwoman and stuff. And there is a kind of weirdly appropriate scene of the Catwoman and the Lois Lane Catwoman and the Penguin. Where the Penguin appears to her and he says, "Let's get married. We'll combine your feline felonies and my bird banditry. We'll become the king and queen of crime." And Catwoman says, "It's a deal, lovebird. And here's a little engagement present I have for you. My catarang." And she throws a thing. And the Penguin starts to fall, and he says into himself, "That clawed gadget could make a penguin burger out of me." And then audibly he says, "Yay, I'm falling." But yet she doesn't, Catwoman just looks at this ring with disgust, pretty much. I did think as well, like the comic book Catwoman would probably, like, if the ring was valuable, she would turn him down, but you'd probably see her, like, pocket the ring anyway, because she's a jewel thief, that's what she does. It's very telling. The Tim Burton version is like, nope, we'll end up throwing it away eventually. But the Penguin's picture then here as well, I think this is quite coded in itself. Because he's going on, but like, oh, it's dark in the mayor's office. I am bushed, and you come in twitching your little tail. My slippers in one hand, a dry martini in the other. But because what he's essentially pitching to her is for her to be kind of like a subservient sort of plaything for him. And it's like, yeah, you should have
absolutely.
You should have my drink for me when I come home and should have my slippers ready. And of course,
what's sexier than slippers?
Like, again, too, we still don't know what the penguin feet look like, so what kind of weird shaped slippers would he have to have?
Flipper slipper. No, it's a very weird dream, that, because you'd think, I don't want to be too crude, you'd think he would be having filthy, like, fantasies about her. But no, he's having this weird, subservient, sort of very homely kind of thing going on. That's odd. I thought he would be fantasizing about her coming in a skimpy version of the suit.
Well, I guess maybe it's just that he just wants to be a big shot now. So that's what he's like, yeah. I'm so tired from being mayor all day, and then I just have a woman at my side and all this sort of business. And of course, that's to the character completely repulsed by patriarchal norms and whatnot. Pitching this to her is literally the worst thing you could have asked her to do, really.
Of all people.
Absolutely.
But I absolutely love the way the way it's almost the sentences segue together, like him going like, a dry martini in the other, and her just going, "Oh, please." And then the classic, "I wouldn't touch you to scratch you."
That's
low. I think that's one of the greatest things about this is that he thinks he's presenting something to her that would be enticing, and not only is she, doesn't find it enticing at all, she doesn't give him an enthusiastic response one way or the other. She doesn't give him a no, but she doesn't give him a yes. She just gives him a nonchalance. So, I love that because that just enrages him so quickly, and that's something we've come to expect from these types, these personalities.
Do you think he would be as annoyed if it was an outright no? I think maybe the dismissal of not even really acknowledging it might annoy him more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That this is the worst reaction he could could get.
Yeah.
He's probably used to people giving him a no.
Yeah.
But of course, he has the very prompt reaction of like, doesn't even take a second to think about it. It's just instantly into, "You lousy minx," and just like completely flips his lid. Fragile male ego, as it would be called on the internet nowadays. Guy getting his bubble burst because like, why wouldn't she want to be with me and stuff?
It's like an incel thing, I think. Like he's rejected, so he just flies off the handle and tries to murder her, as you're going to say.
Yeah, like you could almost hear him saying something like, "Oh, I thought you were a lesbian," or something like that, you know?
Or like those men you get who will like wolf whistle at a woman and they don't react in a positive way. So then they're like, "Oh, you're ugly. You have to beat this out now. You ugly." It's like, well, hang on. You didn't think they were ugly 2 seconds ago when you were whistling.
He goes straight into this, "Oh, you lousy minx, I ought to have you spayed." Which is, slightly annoyed that they missed the opportunity there to make a very obvious... You could have called her, "You lousy Manx," because a Manx is a cat. But it's like, oh, no, they didn't go that far. But it did get me
You
curious
minx.
as to the origins of the word minx. I was like, I wonder where that actually comes from. It could be dated back to the 1540s, apparently. And minx was originally a term for a pet dog, ironically enough.
Oh,
and then
weird.
Later became meaning a young, pert, wanton girl. And then it was perhaps a shortening of minnikin, which is, girl or woman from Middle Dutch. Also from minnikjin, which is darling or beloved. But I just thought it was kind of weirdly ironic that not only did he miss the Manx joke, he's actually calling her the term for what was originally a pet dog. I was like, oh, that's weird.
Oh, that would be insulting, though, wouldn't it? To a cat.
Yeah, totally.
How more insulting could you get?
And then, of course, he has to throw in another little cat joke. I'm like, "I gotta have you spayed," which is like, yeah, she's a cat. We get it, Waters. We know your jokery. Although no,
yeah.
This is after me berating him for not making another cat-based joke. But that's the thing. He says, "You sent me all the signals," and then that's what it gets. She kind of really looks at him like, "What?" And that's the thing. I was trying to think, at any point did Catwoman show any sort of, "Oh yeah, I'm into the Penguin," and the closest you'd get is like, "Oh, she did do that weird bathing quote unquote herself in front of him." I remember we talked about it at the time because he makes this disgusting noise as he's lying watching it.
Yeah.
And was that it? Was he like, "Oh, this is it. She's clearly into me. That she's licking herself and rubbing it on her head in front of me"? Is that the signal, or is it just that like probably does happen in real life? She was giving out literally no signals, and he just wanted her, and he's just like, well, anything she did, he interpreted as being like, "Oh, the way she looked at me that one time, that means
that's what it is.
That means she's..."
That's 100% what it is. It's the defense of people who commit sexual assault. That's what they always say, is stuff like that. "Oh, well, I thought she wanted it. They were giving the signals." No. Consent, Penguin. Well, actually, in the strict revised draft, Catwoman has a little comeback here that's not in the final film. Because she says, "Did I? Only 'cause my mom trained me to, with a man, any man, all men." And then slaps her forehead and says "corn dog" again. But that's quite interesting because it brings her mum back into it, like twisting her. It makes sense because her mum clearly has always been trying to kind of get her married off.
Yeah,
we've established this earlier. She just wants her to find a man, get married, etc. And that ties into that. Like that kind of works for me.
That's kind of we'll just shed a lot more light on why exactly Selina got to this point. We've speculated on it because that's is our job. But yeah, things like that would be like, oh, so yeah, that was her relationship with her mother. Their mother was perhaps a overly traditional kind of 1950s sort of mentality to her, and it's like, yes, you get married and you go off. He works and you stay in the house, that kind of thing. And it was a thing beat into her over her lifespan, but we don't get that in the finished film. We just get that she doesn't quite like her mother. That's about it. We can only speculate as to what the exact relationship was there.
Yeah, I think you get a little bit of it when, like, with the ants machine message. But yeah, I would like a little bit more. I actually think this would possibly be a good line, but then that's a dangerous thing to bring up because 99% of the things cut out of that draft are cut out for a reason.
Oh yeah. I will say as well, actually, before the scene drastically moves on, I really do love the music here as well because it's a nice blending of like a slowed down, creepy version of the Penguins theme. Where I'm not too sure what they're playing it on, but it's some sort of plucked string anyway. Where it's like dang, 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 and then you're getting the really sort of discordant violins that you associate with Catwoman coming in over the top of it as well. It's a very uneasy sounding score, which is, you know, appropriate because their relationship is quite uneasy.
Oh.
But I just, you know, wanted to say it's really enjoyed your work there, Danny Elfman, as I've done so throughout the entirety of these two films.
Yes, I'm sure you're listening, Danny. So thanks.
Yeah, and I was thinking in this minute how quintessentially Danny Elfman it is, and this is early in his, you know, score career, but now it would just take a few seconds of this to go, oh, Danny Elfman, whereas I think over the years he's widened his, you know, soundscapes, so to speak. Like, it's not necessarily as exactly Danny Elfman-ish as it used to be.
Yeah.
And it was nice to just revisit this his stuff is always great.
He knows how to deliver for a Burton picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the sound you need. If you're doing something else, you can do something else. But it's Tim Burton. He's like, I know what to do here. And he nails it every time.
I was just say we get almost the most quintessentially Danny Elfman sounding stuff in the next minute as well, where it's just
Totally.
But I will actually say that the original Dan Waters draft of the script, this scene played very different. You know, same thing, but like different beats and stuff. Actually addressing something that we've kind of talked about before, like, oh, they don't really go into this in the finished movie, where you know, the Penguin comes out and he's like, oh, outstanding work, your Beauty and the Beast in one lusciously wrapped package. And Catwoman says, right back at you, now we do some real damage to the powers that be. And then the Penguin, not paying attention, apparently, says, you were the real thing tonight. You're an incredible creative villain, and that's what makes it so hard to do what I have to do. That department store you hit last night belonged to Max Schreck. And then Catwoman responds with, well, what does that poisonous piece of upstanding citizen have to do with anything? And Penguin condescendingly does, like, temper. Sorry you feel so strongly, but Max Schreck is my bankroll, my boss, and a pretty neat guy all around. Like, well, I don't know if I'd say that, but
No.
And then Catwoman says, you know, in that version of the script, the reason that Selina Kyle got pushed out the window is because she oversaw Max Schreck speaking to someone quite shifty who was the Penguin. And now she says, like, oh my God, you were the one. You're the one he thought I saw him talking to. And that's why he... And then she gives off an incensed screech and then says, corn dog, corn dog, corn dog, which of course was this thing. They keep bringing up corn dog in the other versions of the scripts, and they really they hacked it out of the finished movie. Has this been a recurring thing that Catwoman says?
How many times does she say it in the final one? Like once? Maybe twice?
I think it's twice. We do have
Twice?
Definitely twice, because both times I was like, corn dog? It's corn dog.
It's a weird... It's trying to sound kind of 50s, isn't it? That sort of thing, I think. Like a 50s housewife would say it on TV.
Oh, corn dog. Oh, Flibberty Gibbit. I don't know. I never heard that in Leave It to Beaver.
Well, it does kind of have that, like, even saying, though, about, like, oh, you know, Selina's very taught over on her mother's knee kind of thing. Could be like ladies don't swear. So that's why she says corn dog and stuff instead of going, oh, f*** or something like that. So it could be that that's what they're alluding to there as well. But maybe it's so inbuilt in her that even when she's Catwoman, she can't help but say corn dog. But yeah, she just finishes with, Max owns the good guys and the bad guys, even vulgar, twisted little mutants like the Penguin. And then the Penguin responds with, the name's Oswald Cobblepot, and I don't think I like you anymore. And then he shoots a fireball at her, and then does this thing with the umbrella. I wonder what the mentality was behind changing it from, like, oh, he's taking her out because of his loyalty to Max Schreck, rather than, you know, he's had this perverse, you know, trying to force himself on her, essentially, and her just rejecting him, and then him being so, you know, fragile that he's just like, oh, I can't take this, and that instantly makes him want to kill her. I wonder what notes were made about that, because that's the thing, like, we did briefly mention that, like, they never... Max Schreck in this movie has no idea that Catwoman blew up his store. Like, he was a riot, and then the store blew up, and I guess he was like, oh, those friggin' Red Triangle guys, like, blew up my store as well. And I guess then he would have got the word from... Oh, no, actually, no, to be fair, he would have got the word from... Because Catwoman was all the papers and stuff. I guess those security guys the guy from the Gilmore Girls would have been going like, oh yeah, there was a crazy cat lady and stuff. So maybe, but I don't know if Max Shrek ever pieces it together. This is a personal attack on him, where he's like, oh yeah.
I don't think he does. You think she would want him to know?
Yeah. I thought the thing you think it would be more like, oh, I've been targeted by some woman, but then it would make him look like a bit of an idiot. That was like, some woman's targeting me. Selina Kyle has come back from the dead. Like, maybe there's a connection between the two.
No.
Like that was always the thing that bugged me about Batman Begins, was the fact that like Bruce Wayne is thought dead by the world, and then he comes back, and it's like, Alfred's like, well, I had to kill you, sir. Everyone assumes you're dead, so he storms into the friggin' Wayne offices, and everyone's like, Bruce Wayne, you're alive, and all this sort of stuff. And then it's like literally headline making news: Bruce Wayne thought dead, now alive. And in the same week, a mysterious vigilante, the Batman, has appeared in Gotham. Wouldn't everyone be like, wait a minute, something's not right here? Like, but yeah, I just wonder at what point, like, I assume it was a Wesley Schrick thing where he was like, no, let's change it from it being a Max influenced reason as to maybe they wanted to broaden the scope of, like, instead of it just been, Catwoman's main beef is with Max Shrek, and all her woes can be tied into him. They're wanting to broaden it, and like, no, this is it's all men and stuff. It's all these sleazy little gits who want to get in their pants and stuff as well. Like, we're broadening it out, so it's not just her focused on this one guy. It's everyone's kind of doing it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the motivation could also be why was the motivation important for it to be a different part of the relationship, or the way the Penguin perceives his relationship with her, so it's telling a different story about who he is as well.
Yeah. It really does solidifies what we knew him to be, an angry guy, but to see that he's so touchy and so easily pricked that, like, just this insult is enough to turn him homicidal. Shows you really how unhinged he is. It does give you a bit more, instead of him like literally coming in and like, well, yeah, so I've been asked to do this by someone else. The fact that it's part of his impulse control problem that he has,
right? And it's more personal.
Yeah.
Speaking of homicidal, though, he tries to kill her in a very odd fashion. And I don't fully get it, right? So he goes full comic book and wraps an umbrella around Catwoman's neck, which then lifts into the sky like a helicopter. So it's one of his comic umbrellas. But, like, why can't she get it off?
Yeah.
The script does say, well, the draft script, the strict one, that it kind of tightens around her neck like a noose. But you don't really get that impression. Like, has it got a spike or something? Like, has he stabbed her in the neck with it?
I've always been a bit baffled by this, even as a kid. It's like, well, why is it clung to her neck so much? It just seems like that'll wrap around the back, and as soon as you lift off, the helicopter probably wouldn't, the handle wouldn't even wrap around your head properly. It would just probably go flying off by itself. But and there's also the other question of, like, presumably whatever mechanism sets off the helicopter aspect of it is in the handle, but the Penguin's not holding it, but he's holding it by the other end. So how does he set it off to be? Is it just like her Catwoman's neck pushes the button? Is that what happened? Is that what he was? I hope this works out, because
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I felt like he was activating the whole thing by throwing it around her neck and then flipping it up, and that the action of flipping it up, like, activates its ability to helicopter up.
Yeah.
It must be that. There's no other explanation for this. And I'm going to buy the drafts version of it tightens around her neck as well. We're going to combine those two things. That's how it's working. There you go.
Sounds good. I try not to get too tied up in this stuff because, it's extremely comic booky and silly and fun. And, especially as the minutes go on here, I think, I was just trying to enjoy the ride and the campiness and all that kind of stuff.
I think actually, this week is really the beginning of, like, we're going into, like, silliness. Like, not in a bad way, but it is getting into, like, well, there are going to be penguins with rockets strapped to their backs in this movie at some point.
Or there's going to be your wonderful hosts with rockets strapped to their back on our Facebook profile pictures.
Love it.
But yeah, that's like this next, actually, well, more in the next minute when you see Catwoman in full flight, as it were. That is one of it's a very iconic image, but it is very much like, again, I can't imagine you'd get that in a comic book movie these days. Of like, yeah, there's a scene of the Catwoman, a woman in a latex bondage outfit, been suspended from a flying umbrella. Like that, that doesn't strike me as something like even in the Guardians of the Galaxy days. I don't think they're coming in and pitching that to the studio. They'll be like, that sounds really weird, but it's in this movie.
I also think his line is weird, where he says, "Goodbye, my unintended."
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
it seemed very much like he was intending. So
yeah, he was intending.
So then maybe now he's turning. Maybe this is another bit of like, you know what? I didn't even want you. Yeah, you were my unintended. I didn't even have the time of day for you.
He was just doing it to be nice. But you know what? Screw you.
But I actually think as Catwoman's taking off, it might be. I'm trying to look in because I've got all little scribbled notes everywhere, so I'm trying to see if I've covered everything.
That's everything for me.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I was just gonna say I didn't think he was trying to kill her here either. I thought he was just saying like, "Bye, bitch." I didn't. You didn't respond the way I expected, so I don't even want to see your face anymore.
I suppose it's a good way to get rid of people who are annoying you. Just whoop.
I guess maybe he just gets like a nice little dual killing for him, though. It's like, well, I did push one woman off I organized one woman to fall off a thing earlier tonight. If I get this one to go upwards, I'll be a nice little symmetry to my murders tonight.
That'll be what he's known as, this serial killer, Mr. Symmetry.
He's really trying to, I'm looking to get rid of this penguin brand, okay? He's like, I get it. I got the flippers and I look like a penguin, but what if I was Mr. Symmetry? And then, it doesn't work out. He sees, the rise of Two-Face happens. He's like, oh, what the...
God damn it.
Wait, this guy, I guess, is this kind of... I don't know. He's got two things going on here. Kind of symmetrical. What? Oh, yeah. No, I'll go back to the penguin. The penguin's fine.
Speaking of Two-Face and two things, it's the first time it's ever dawned on me, staring at the penguin here as he looks up at Catwoman. He looks like the mayor from The Nightmare Before Christmas with the two faces, that spin around.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very similar look and outfit, isn't it? And of course, as we've said multiple times, Burton doesn't direct that. People think he does. But he designed a lot of the characters and things. They're clearly all based on his drawings and whatnot. It's the same outfit.
I think it is, very, very much so. Particularly, they're so close in production time as well.
Yeah.
He's like, I had a real hard on for top hats and kind of big-bodied people wearing them and stuff.
Burton was just going around dressed like that summer.
And that was one of the things that when I was watching this movie as a whole that I was thinking, you can really see this penguin character drawn in a Tim Burton sketchbook. The shapes and the colors and the costuming and everything, you could just see it coming, straight out of his one of his books.
Sketches look even cooler than the finished product, I think. I absolutely love the way he draws these characters. And Catwoman as well. She looks amazing. We're going to post these, Niall, if we haven't already.
I think the very famous one he has of the penguin, though, I always think he looks very kind of weirdly cute in it. He's got his little goofy smile and stuff. I think that is Tim Burton's thing, is because he just loves he loves freaks and monsters so much that even trying to draw an evil one, he makes him look like he's a kind of nice guy. Whereas, I guess then Stan Winston had to take over. He's like, he needs to look evil, he's not supposed to be an approachable fella. But
I even think, with his darkness around his eyes, there is something, wounded and soulful, like a sad puppy dog about him, even though he's really gross looking.
I can see that. But yes, we probably should. We'll head off into the dark, dark night. Heidi, would you like to tell our listeners where they can find you and your various wonderful works all across the interweb?
Yes, absolutely. So, as mentioned, I did do Spinal Tap Minute, and you can find that at spinaltapminute.com. Also went through The Cabin in the Woods, and that is at Cabin Minute Cast. So that was another Movies by Minutes podcast. And currently I am recording and releasing my more personal project, which is Vibrant Visionaries, and that's at vibrantvisionaries.com, and that is conversations with clever, compassionate multi-creatives about their process, projects, and lessons learned along the way. So those are me chatting with different people who have a lot of different creative interests and are multi-creators. So I got to, for example, have a wonderful conversation with Martin Wist, who was the project, let me take that again. You guys can cut out a little bit of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Martin Wist was the production designer for The Cabin in the Woods, but also several other movies, including the more recent Drew Goddard film, which I hope, Niall, that we can still talk about. And I still have that in my calendar as something I want to schedule. The Bad Times at the El Royale. So I got to talk with him. And not only is he a production designer, and we talk about that and about him, doing the production design for that film, but he's also a sculptor and a painter. So, and he really did share a lot of process stuff. So check that episode out specifically if you want to kind of get an idea of who I talked to and what we talk about. That one was especially exciting because he was somebody I was a big fan of,
Ooh, yeah, do check it out, everybody. Check out all of those because you'll get a great trio of very different things in a good way, all with Heidi's wonderful insights, of course. So yeah, check them out and check us out on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave and on Twitter at Bat Minutes, and give us a review on iTunes. And we will see you again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute Returns.
Next time, jumping cat flash, it's a greenhouse gas. I don't understand that. Is that a reference to something, or it doesn't make any? Okay. After being dissuaded by a charming dame, Oswald takes umbrage and uses an umbrella propeller to propel her away. Oh, I like that. That's quite good. Yeah. Okay. While the deplorably moraled Puma descends from heaven, will the shrieking siren have her scream turned up to 11? Find out Wednesday. Or what if you don't listen to it on Wednesday? You can listen to it on any day, can't you? But all right. Same bat pod, different bat minute.